And welcome back to Eldora, the first dirt track race for NASCAR about to get underway. Again, race number 1 has Kenny Schrader up in front, J.R. Hefner, Joey Coulter, Jimmy Weller, Tracy Hines, Dave Blaney, and Scott Bloomquist. Again, as we mentioned earlier, 4 are locked in. 3 are fighting for that one transfer spot.
And that would be Kenny Schrader, J.R. Hefner, and Jimmy Weller. Those are the 3 trucks that are fighting for that one spot.
Hearing that Kenny Schrader is going to line that number 52 truck up on the outside to try to grab the lead on the start here from Hefner. Like you said, Phil, he's got to beat Hefner to make the show, to be locked in the show, that is. And if he gets locked in, he's going to be a guy you got to beat. But he's 58 years old, record-setting oldest age for winning a NASCAR pole. What an amazing feat by Kenny Schrader. He's about 15 at heart, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, boys, the racing groove is narrow for this place right now. It's going to be extremely hard to pass. Only 8 laps in the heat race. This track's got a lip on it up high. The preferred line is going to definitely be around the outside, but the slide jobs are going to be coming. Those cars are going to be shooting down low and sliding across the track, and that's probably where we're going to see the first caution.
So Kenny Schrader chose the outside line to start this. There are 8 laps in this race, but only green flag laps count. So if a caution does come out, it will be green flag laps that count for those 8 laps.
And we see J.R. Hefner right there. A lot of experience on dirt. He could finish second in this race and still have to go through the last chance race to get locked into this field tonight.
I like what Clint said about the slide jobs, going low, going up high, trying to take spots away. There's not a lot of grip down low, and it'd be interesting to see how much the grip does develop on the bottom. During practice, we saw guys go down there and begin to make some time, not worrying about sliding up in front of another truck, just passing down on the bottom. So as this night wears on, the excitement, the drama will build. And Phil, as soon as these trucks rolled off to make these parade laps for the first qualifying race, this sold-out crowd stood up and started cheering. They can't wait to watch these trucks race.
And practice started today at 11:30. They had an hour-and-a-half practice, and there was over half the crowd was already here then.
What about this guy, Scott Bloomquist? When you say dirt racer, you think Scott Bloomquist. He's won over 500 features. He's starting in the back of his heat race. He's got to go, baby.
Kenny Schrader on the outside, J.R. Hefner on the inside. The first dirt race for NASCAR in 43 years about to get underway. It's a qualifying race coming out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air, we're underway. Kenny Schrader has the advantage coming out onto the backstretch.
Nice move by Joey Coulter down on the inside. How about, look at Tracy Hines all the way at the bottom.
Trying to find grip. Hines goes down right up against the inside wall, trying to make the pass. 3 and 4 wide as they go by.
Hines has been down there all throughout practice, so he's comfortable on the bottom of the racetrack, and he's making some pretty good ground down there. He's able to hold side by side with Joey Coulter and maybe even edge ahead of Coulter.
As you said, he doesn't even try to go up in front of him. He just tries to make some time on the bottom. You see Joey Coulter up on the high side.
Hines, one of the locked-in drivers. Again, the ones that are racing to try to advance that are not locked in. Kenny Schrader, J.R. Hefner, and the 07 of Jimmy Weller.
Guys, remember, whoever wins this heat race will start on the pole tonight as Dave Blaney tries to get up on ease into Hefner.
Little contact made as they come out of 4. Crossing the stripe.
It's like that Blaney heard you say the winner is going to start on the pole, Rick. He went for that spot hard down into turn 3 and couldn't hold it off of Hefner.
The hat across the top of your screen is going to display who's locked in, who has the position to advance, which is yellow. And right now, Kenny Schrader has the yellow chiclet just in front of his driver name and number. And the red numbers mean they will have to come through the last chance qualifier to advance.
And remember now, this is not just to qualify for this race in advance. This is where you're going to start. The guy that wins this race will start on the pole tonight. The guy that finishes second will start 6th in the main event tonight.
They continue to work through 3 and 4. Schrader still holding on to the top spot, continuing to run right up against the wall. J.R. Hefner also following suit.
And look at Hefner closing on Schrader off turn 2. He's not giving up. He held off a fierce battle from Blaney, and now he's closing in on Schrader. He can taste locking himself into this race.
And I can tell you right now, I said it wrong, because if J.R. Hefner finishes second, he will not start 6th in this feature. He will go and revert to the last chance qualifier.
Here comes the 19, looking to the inside of Hefner. Hefner, just under 2 laps of racing. If he wants to get into the A main feature through this qualifying heat, he's going to have to get by the 52 of Schrader.
Look at him gain on Schrader. He knows he's got to make that move, and he's got his tongue hanging out trying to catch him. White
flag in the air. One more time around. Schrader's got to hold off Hefner to lock himself in and win the pole for the feature.
Kenny Schrader does a lot of dirt track racing throughout the season.
Blaney going for the bottom so he could grab that spot from Hefner, try to slide up in front of him. Not going to make it.
It's going to be Ken Schrader winning the first qualifying heat race.
Awesome job of spot. Damn, he kept me out of trouble through the whole thing.
A little tongue-in-cheek there out of Ken Schrader.
It's an awesome job of spotting.
You kept me out of trouble the whole race.
You know who his spotter is, don't you? David Strimmy is up top spotting for Schrader.
So Kenny Schrader won the pole earlier today and now has locked in the #1 starting position for our feature tonight.
It's a pretty good day for the 58-year-old veteran Kenny Schrader.
And that's not all he wants, too. He has designs on that trophy Clinton, Crystal were talking about.
With the dirt.
With the dirt in it.
Trophy. Again, a historic day for NASCAR, a historic day for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
You think Clint's ever won a trophy with dirt in it? I know he's won a lot of dirt races. Seemed really happy about that trophy with dirt in it.
While we're watching Ken Schrader make his way in the infield, let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Well, our defending champion, James Busher, you watched every lap of that race right here in turns 1 and 2, then reported to your teammate, Miguel Paludo. What'd you see and what'd you tell your teammate?
I just told him good luck, and you know, it looked like after the first 2 laps, everything just stayed at the top, and it was really hard to have any passing. So I'm guessing he'll probably be starting on the bottom, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in the heat races. I start on the top in mine in the 4th heat, so we'll see if we can't keep the Ream Chevy up front and get a solid starting spot for tonight.
No less than about 10 or 12 drivers, Rick, watching this first heat from right here inside of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Hermie, one of the fun things I've been watching also is how the drivers will hang on the fence. Just like at your local dirt track anywhere around America, guys hanging on the fence watching, and these drivers are paying attention. So here's the qualifying race #1 results. Ken Schrader gets the win. J.R. Hefner comes in second but will not advance into the feature. He has to go through the last chance qualifier to get into tonight's A feature.
Yeah, Dave Blaney, Joey Coulter, Tracy Hines, and Scott Bloomquist are locked in to the main event tonight.
And a lot of fun will be Scott Bloomquist when they throw the green flag for the feature, because he's going to be starting deep in the field, and he's got a real knack for passing trucks in the dirt.
Ken Schrader has climbed out of his number 52. He wins qualifying heat race #1. Coming up next, qualifying race #2. Thank you very much. And actually, Clint Boyer's race car driver is on the pole for this one. Jared Landers is going to bring the field to the green flag. He's another one of the drivers that has to race his way in, so he's got a preferred position there. The 84 and the 57 of Jeff Babcock and Norm Benning, also 2 of the other drivers that will try to race their way into this A main feature.
And another strong truck in practice, Dakota Armstrong, is starting last, so watch for him to try to make some moves as this race unfolds.
And guys, don't forget our point leader, Matt Crafton. This is a race that he kind of thought maybe be a Daytona Talladega, one that he would have to dodge, but he really embraced this dirt. Looked pretty good today in practice. He starts this race in 3rd.
He and his teammate Johnny Sauter both started slow and gained confidence all throughout every practice session. And when the feature starts, I think both those guys think that they can win this thing.
Now the winner of this race will advance to the A main feature, which will run this evening, 150 laps. They are going for the 2nd starting position. The 1st starting spot has already been locked up by Ken Schrader. Now they're racing for the 2nd position. So on that front row here at Eldora, and the fight will begin momentarily. Jared Landers, Miguel Paludo making up row #1, coming out of turn #4. Green flag back in the air at Eldora.
You know, we were talking to Clint as you see Matt Crafton dived all the way down to the bottom. He said his driver, Jared Landers, had never shifted a race vehicle. He restarts.
Look at Bubba Wallace in the 54 make his way up to the 2nd spot early on in this one.
Landers races a dirt car. They got 2-speed transmissions. They just put it in high and roll. So shifting gears was even something new to him. Look at this battle between Crafton. Barely keeps from making contact on the outside with Miguel Paludo. Held it off of him. Now Paludo's got to run on top.
That's the fight for the third spot. Paluto's going to have it. Dropping back to fourth is Matt Crafton. Norm Benning in the fifth spot. And here comes that 84 of Jeff Babcock.
How about Darrell Wallace Jr. looks to the inside of the 6 of Landers.
Now back right behind him on his back bumper as they work their way right up against the wall here at Eldora.
You talked about someone else with no dirt experience, Phil. That would be Darrell Wallace Jr. He said his bucket was empty when it came to stories about dirt racing. And no, Landers into the wall. That's going to open up the door for Wallace.
He's going to try to look to the inside. Can't grab the traction as they cross the stripe.
There goes Landers into the wall again.
And we've seen them hit that right rear quarter panel almost since they first came out onto the track.
That's going to be a common theme with that groove where it is right up against the wall, that little bit of a cushion up there. We think these guys are going to be bouncing off the wall every single lap just to straighten their trucks out.
That's precision driving. That's their plan. They hang it out. It gets a little bit too far hung out like that. The wall straightens it up, and you keep on going. How cool is that, seeing these trucks sideways like that?
Landers still holding on to that top spot.
I think Landers is looser than he wants to be. Look how far that thing gets swung out.
And bounces off the wall yet again. Look at Darrell Wallace Jr. Bubba on the inside.
Look at the inside, trying to take the spot away. Now trying to find some grip down low. Landers up high.
Oh,
He's going to go around.
Can he keep
Wallace
it going?
spinning.
Oh.
Well, they throw the caution. The caution does come out. And again, caution flag laps do not count in the 8 laps of these qualifying races.
Doesn't look like Bubba made very much contact. I doubt very seriously that he comes off the racetrack.
No, he's good. If that was practice, we'd have just kept going. That's the way things went throughout practice. But NASCAR's going to bunch them up. We're going to have a restart. That'll give Miguel Paluto a chance to dive on the inside of Landers.
They will line them back up again. Here's another look at Darrell Wallace Jr. going around.
He was trying to make that middle groove work.
That's the same way he was running out next to the wall, but the wall would straighten him up. He didn't have the wall just then, and around it went.
Make some contact.
Man, I've never been so nervous watching him. He's loose, but I just told Schrader, I said, man, he just needs to let him go. And then, you know, Darrell tried to go underneath him. Just shows you how quick and easy it is to spin this thing out. You can really hang them things out, but if you step over the line, you're going around.
And Clint, Jared is hanging his out. He's stepping over the line, but the wall's straightening him back up, and he keeps going.
Thank goodness there's a wall there.
That's right.
There ain't much of a cushion, but there's a big wall.
Guys are taking advantage of the wall right now. We've seen Jared Landers slide along that wall numerous times. They'll line him back up again. Now we'll have 3 laps to go.
And remember, Bubba, there's Tony Stewart, track owner. He's been here early in the morning both days that we've been here. And I'm sure every other day this week.
Jeff Babcock, who's running in the 4th spot. He'll try to get by the 6 of Landers. Landers, again, trying to race his way into the feature for this evening.
And you know Babcock knows that Landers is the spot he needs if he's going to be locked into this race. And how convenient is it that he's lined up right on his tailgate? A little push, and maybe Babcock transfers to the feature. We've talked about how loose Landers is. The truck is hanging way out. We saw in that first race, Schrader kept his truck pointed straight. The second place truck of J.R. Hefner, he was fairly straight. But in this race, we've got guys that are out of control.
Jared Landers with dirt track experience.
And remember, caution laps do not count in these qualifying races.
About ready to come back to the green flag.
That means we got to do 3 more.
Jeff Babcock will restart in the 4th position. That's outside of row number 2. Pace truck makes its way into the infield, coming out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air.
Babcock was a winner most recently in May here at this racetrack. There's Crafton again, right against the inside wall.
Trying to find some grip down low. The 88 of Matt Crafton. Side by side with Landers as they go into 3.
And look at Paluto. He's trying to nose his way in there as well. But look at Crafton down on the bottom.
Crafton's finding some grip. He leads that lap. Crafton out in front here with 1 to go. 2 to go. White flag hasn't gone yet.
Now here comes Landers on the outside. He's going to make his way back up beside and past Crafton.
Crafton down low, trying to find that grip. This time by, the white flag will fly.
Landers in the wall again. Some aluminum came off of that truck. Crafton may be able to beat him to the line.
Half a truck length, the advantage for Landers when they cross the stripe. Down the backstretch they go. Landers with the advantage. Crafton goes up high now, moving up to second. Landers looking to advance and lock up the second starting position in tonight's A main feature. Out of turn number 4, Jared Landers wins qualifying heat race number 2.
Look at Bubba Wallace. He passed 3 trucks and made his way back up to the 4th spot. So good recovery for Bubba, but a great job of hanging on to a loose truck by Jared Landers.
And how about Matt Crafton, the first to really venture down there and stay with the bottom?
And that's going to get better and better, Rick. The more this night wears on, that bottom's going to become more of a player for these guys, and that's when we're going to see 2, 3, and probably even 4 wide action.
Remember on Tuesday when we talked with Matt Crafton, he said, I'm looking to survive. Well, he's looking to do more than survive the way he's running right now.
But we watched that confidence just balloon over the last couple of days. He got better and better. He felt like today he had one of the best trucks here.
And I love the fact that he went down there and tried to make something happen on the bottom.
And so now those drivers that have been watching, the ones in heats 3, 4, and 5, they will take a look at the 88 of Matt Crafton and see that that bottom is coming in a bit and able to get some traction down low. But Jared Landers grabs qualifying race number 2. Matt Crafton coming home in the 2nd spot in this one. Landers advances to the feature.
When we talked about the heat races, the qualifying races that got my attention, it's this one, the 3rd one, with Kyle Larson back in the 5th spot. He's got to pass 2 guys to advance from this heat race into the feature. He's starting on the bottom. That's not great, but I know he had a smile on his face when he saw what Matt Crafton was able to do down on the bottom. Will Kyle Larson be able to use that ultimate low groove and make his way to the front?
He has to pass Jason Bowles and Clay Greenfield in order to transfer in. Jason's starting on the inside of the front row, and then Clay Greenfield starting in the 3rd spot.
And if I'm Greenfield or Bowles, I'm going to get against that wall and make Kyle Larson go to the bottom and pass me low. Get up high as soon as you can.
But do you think Brendan Gaughan and that South Point Chevy is going to allow them to get up there in front of him?
Well, you know how much Brendan Gaughan likes to be against the wall. That's his home.
How about Kyle Larson's helmet? He actually has made a comment. He's got the Eldora logo on his helmet. He said if he ends up winning this race, there's a good chance that he would auction that helmet off.
Well, there's a good chance I'll buy it, because this is the most fun I've had for 2 days in a long time. Watching the smiles on these drivers' face and listening to the enthusiasm in their voice about what it means to be on a dirt track racing NASCAR. It's amazing.
We could hear it in Kenny Schrader's voice, and Kenny's raced all over this country, 100 races a year, and been racing a long time, and he's excited to be here.
You got that right. Anybody that wins tonight, this is going to be one of the biggest wins of their whole career.
Kyle Larson has been one of the fastest trucks, if not the fastest, in all of the practices. But now he'll have to work hard to get by 2 not locked in trucks to get himself in the A feature out of this qualifying race. Coming to the green flag, Timothy Peters, Jason Bowles, green flag in the air, we're back underway.
How about Kyle Larson? Automatically goes right to the bottom. Remember, Jason Bowles, hard contact with the wall during qualifying.
Jason Bowles looks to the inside as well. Tries to block that 30 of Kyle Larson. Now up on the high side. The 2 are side by side. Bowles and Brendan Gaughan.
Right along with Kyle Larson there. He's got that 5 truck in front of him. He knows he has to get in front of that 5 truck to transfer in.
And Jason Bowles did just what we thought. As soon as he could get to the wall, he got there, and now Larson's going to have to get under him to pass him, and that's a difficult challenge.
Out in front of the field, it's Timothy Peters in the 17. Now looking to the bottom of the racetrack, the 29 of Ryan Blaney. He's trying to get that bottom groove to work.
You can see that Larson's faster than Bowles, Phil. He keeps poking that nose out, but as long as Bowles doesn't make a mistake, ooh, look how rough that is off turn 2. I love it. As long as Bowles doesn't make a mistake, Larson's going to have to make a big move to pass him, and here he goes.
Tries it on the bottom of the track. Will he try the slide job? Yes, he does. Slides up in front of the 5. Will it stick? Here comes the 5 of Bowles. Bowles is going to get it back as they cross the stripe.
All right.
What a great job by Jason Bowles to get that spot back.
Now he knows what he's dealing with, doesn't he?
And now Kyle Larson puts the bumper to the back of the 5 as they work their way through 1 and 2 down the backstretch. Larson's going to stay up high this time.
A real wild card in this race could be that Blaney truck. He's down there where Larson was going to have to go, and Blaney's holding on.
Slide job once again. Larson down to the bottom of the track. This time way up the track. Let's see if he can keep it off the wall. He does, but here comes Bowles once again. Side by side. Larson's going to have the advantage going into 3.
Yeah, Larson has it right now. He was able to make it work. Now Bowles down on the inside. He knows that's his only chance.
This is for the transfer spot of the non-locked-in trucks. Kyle Larson has the position now. He's running 3rd in this one. Timothy Peters out front. Brendan Gaughan running 2nd. Kyle Larson is 3rd.
Yeah, lost in all of this is the fact that Timothy Peters has driven off from the field.
Timothy Peters running a great race. Great qualifying race. Just under 2 laps to go as Timothy Peters out in front. Brendan Gaughan running 2nd. Kyle Larson has taken the transfer spot away from Bowles running 3rd.
Oh,
Hornaday slides right up in front of the 29 of Blaney.
We saw exactly how a slide job works, and we just saw how one is not supposed to work.
It was very close. White flag in the air. One more time around for Timothy Peters.
Look at Peters. Got that truck plenty tight. He's not all out of whack like we saw Jared Landers. He's just marching away from these boys.
That last lap, Kyle Larson was 0.3 of a second faster than the next fastest truck on the racetrack.
Here comes Timothy Peters. Peters will win his qualifying race. And Kyle Larson will advance to the feature.
But there was some drama there. He had to work his rear end off to grab that spot away, but he showed his dirt racing experience. Classic move to grab that transfer spot.
Did the slide job the first time. Jason Bowles was able to fight back, take the position back. But then once again, Kyle Larson, with all of that experience, was able to take the position away and the transferring spot. Well, he's already won a race this year at Rockingham.
Let me show you a perfect slide job. Down low, slides right up the hill. Plenty of room for Bowles to go to the bottom, but it didn't work. Kyle Larson had the spot. Now, I want to show you how someone that hasn't made many slide jobs does it. He dives to the bottom, cuts to the bottom, doesn't quite have Blaney cleared, and then drives up in front of him.
Blaney had to lock the brakes up as opposed to run into the back of that 9 and wreck both of those trucks.
Yeah, and this is a qualifying race. You're not going to do that during this race.
Yeah, probably not going to have quite as much patience in the feature tonight.
And again, it's a 150-lap feature tonight. We take a look at the unofficial results of qualifying race number 3. Timothy Peters has now grabbed the 3rd starting spot, so he'll be on the inside of row number 2 for tonight's feature. Brendan Gaughan, another one of the locked-in trucks. He will have a good starting position. Kyle Larson makes the transfer spot. He will start 13th tonight in the feature. And all smiles out of Kyle Larson, one of the favorites coming into this event as he has so much experience in his young age on dirt. Timothy Peters wins qualifying race number 3. Great overhead view of Eldora Speedway as the trucks are getting ready for qualifying heat race number 4. Who is in this race? Kenny Wallace, race car driver. Kenny Wallace will start on the pole. He's locked in. He doesn't have to worry about a transfer spot, but Max Gresham does.
You know, and if you handicap this race, Max Gresham and Brendan Newberry are really evenly matched. Gresham spun around a couple times. Newberry's been fast, and Phil, on the start, Gresham will be pinched down to the bottom. So I've got to favor Newberry to grab this transfer spot because he's going to be on the high side, but it's going to be a battle. Both these guys know it's go or go home.
And the other truck that has to transfer in is the number 10, and that's Joe Cobb. That's Jennifer Joe Cobb's father driving that truck for Jennifer Joe Cobb.
He hopes that those other two boys get a little carried away with their battle for that transfer spot, and he can sneak in there and grab it himself.
And once again, if they don't get in through their qualifying races, they have a last chance qualifier. It's a 15-lap race that will determine the 5 final positions that will move up into the feature.
We'll have 10 trucks in that last chance race, so that means 5 will make it. Unfortunately, 5 will go home. You see Kenny Wallace here is going to start on the pole in this Jegs Toyota. That's by virtue of the fact that that truck was 20th in owner points coming in. He's locked in the field no matter what happens in this heat race. The 5 truck that we just watched, Jason Bowles, they were tied with the 81 truck of Kenny Wallace. And the reason they got the nod, the 81 truck, because they had a better finish throughout the season than the 5 did. One race had a better finish than the 5 did. And they're locked in, and the 5 still has to qualify in.
And the difference is about 100 beats per minute in your heart rate. Knowing you're locked in and knowing you got to go get it done. And Jason Bowles has one more chance, and that's it. Kenny Wallace is on the pole. He's locked in. Everything is groovy in his world.
Kenny Wallace leading this field through 3 and 4. On the inside, Max Gresham. Gresham having to qualify through this qualifying race. Can he get it done? Green flag back in the air. Kenny Wallace on the high side takes the lead early.
Let's don't forget we have a former series champion in the 39 truck, Austin Dillon, making his first start of the season in the truck series.
Made the bottom of the track work on the start. He's already up to the 3rd position, chasing after that 31 of James Busher running 2nd.
Newberry, the 24, jumps to the bottom down there behind Austin. You see Gresham up on the high side.
Gresham was able to move to the top. That was a really strong move by Gresham to grab that position, and Newberry stuck on the bottom.
Newberry's losing ground now. He decides to jump up behind the 39 of Austin Dillon on the high side of this racetrack. Now through the middle goes Newberry, trying to find any way to grab some grip to catch up to that 8 of Gresham. In front of the field, Kenny Wallace has a locked-in spot, trying to get the best starting position that this 4th heat qualifier can give him.
It's a good view for Kenny Wallace. He looks out his mirror and sees the truck about 6 truck lengths back. Nothing out his windshield.
That's defending series champion James Busher running back behind him. And James really hit on something this morning in our practice. He was struggling in the first 2 practices on Tuesday, but was able to hit on something and has been looking very good, now running in the 2nd spot in this heat.
Remember now, Max Gresham is not out of the woods. It's so easy to bounce into the wall. We've seen trucks do it ever since we've been here. You can make too hard a contact there and get out of shape. That would open it up for Newberry.
And we've seen Max Gresham go around in practice earlier too.
Yeah, but you got to tip your hat to him right now. He's hanging right in there with Busher. He's holding off former series champion. There he is into the wall. It's talked a little bit too soon. He's got Austin Dillon right behind him. If Austin can make a move around Gresham, that would open the door up for Newberry to do the same.
Brendan Newberry running back in the 5th spot. He is on the outside looking in. Max Gresham holding the transfer spot now in this heat. Now Austin Dillon looking to the inside of that 8 of Gresham.
And Kenny Wallace is getting some pressure now. We saw that gap earlier. It's gone. Busher is there.
Less than 3 laps to go. Coming out of turn number 4, Kenny Wallace trying to hold up the 31 of James Busher. 2 to go.
And remember, every finishing position, if it's a truck that makes the field, that's worth 5 starting spots in the feature.
Look at this.
Here they come. Lined up. 4 trucks, nose to tail down the backstretch. This time by, they'll see the white flag. Can Kenny Wallace hang on? Here comes Busher. Right on his back bumper. Gresham still holding on to the transfer spot. White flag in the air, 1 to go. Down at the bottom of the track goes Austin Dillon, trying to take the position away from the 8 of Max Gresham.
Didn't work that time. We'll see if Austin tries it again down here in 3 and 4.
Busher's going to give her a shot down to the bottom.
Busher goes to the bottom of the track. Can he hang on to it? Dillon's also down there. Coming out of turn number 4, race car driver Kenny Wallace wins at Eldora.
And Max Gresham transfers, finishes in that 3rd spot and has him a spot in the feature.
I thought it was a great attempt by Busher. He waited till the last lap. He knew he wasn't going to be in danger of losing that 2nd position. He tried it. Didn't quite work that time, but he learned something for later on.
Once again, Max Gresham will have a smile on his face as he is now locked into the main event tonight, that 150-lap feature that will be broken down into 60, 50, and 40 lap segments.
I think another guy, in addition to Gresham, who gets in the race, and Wallace, who wins, that has a smile on his face, is James Busher. He's struggled since we've been here, but in that race, he was going for the win against a guy with a lot of dirt experience in Kenny Wallace. What a great finish by Busher.
Week in and week out, we have 4, 5, maybe 6 guys can win. When I look at this field tonight, possibly 15 or 16 guys with a legitimate shot. I'll put Kenny Wallace on that list.
And Kim, I'm sorry you had to learn that the check was written on television. But congratulations to Kenny Wallace on official results. Kenny wins qualifying race number 4. Busher, an impressive showing. He goes 2nd in that one. He has Max Gresham just behind him. Max, the not locked-in driver that now has locked himself into the feature. The Exmo giving us a great shot of just how difficult it is to grab grip here at Eldora.
How would you like to try to explain to Jeb Burton that slow is fast?
Yeah.
He does not have a slow gear.
Kid always qualifies on the pole.
Yeah,
like every track we go to.
He's a charger. And Johnny Sauter, you talked about diversity, Rick. Johnny Sauter won at Daytona. Then he won at Martinsville. He didn't think there was anything that could be any different than that. And now here he is at Eldora trying to win again.
Ryan Newman, one of the drivers that will have to race his way into the feature, as well as that 63 of Justin Jennings and the 99 of Brian Silas. So the 34, the 63, and the 99 all racing for the transfer spot.
Ty Dillon's also in this race, Rick, and that 3 truck, one of the fastest trucks in practice, went late during the qualifying session. Track conditions changed, did not make the top 29 qualifiers. I think he qualified back in the 30th position. That's why he's back so far in this heat race.
And right behind him is Romain Quiroga. He's been fast today, but in qualifying, not so much, so he'll have to try to pass some trucks. Remember, these are qualifying races. If you're locked in, you're not going to take many chances. Remember when Hornaday slid up in front of Ryan Blaney, he locked his truck up. He didn't want to damage it. As the night goes on, action will pick up.
And so far in the first 4 qualifying races, the driver who has started in the #1 position has ended in the #1 position from their qualifying race.
And each pole sitter has set, first starter has elected to start on the outside as well. And that's been the key to getting those victories. However, a couple of tough challenges to the checker for a couple of our winners. Jared Landers almost got past late.
And I would expect the 34 of Ryan Newman to be battling for the top spot after 8 laps. We'll see what happens. Coming out of turn number 4, green flag back in the air once again.
That white car, 63 of Justin Jennings, knows he needs to stay in front of that 34 of Newman. Newman's already side by side with a 4 truck.
How about the 98? Sauter battling for the lead early. Jeb Burton up high. Now the 3 of Ty Dillon making the move to the bottom of the track and right up through the center.
Johnny got some pretty good grip there down on the bottom. Not able to do anything with Jeb yet. Now Newman's side by side with Johnny.
Here comes Newman. He's made the pass on second. Now he'll set his sights on Jeb Burton. Here comes Ty Dillon looking at the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by that 98. Sauter up high. Dillon really close as he slides by behind him.
Just has to play with that throttle. We see Quiroga down on the bottom as well. He's been able to get by the 99 of Silas.
Ryan Newman will heat up Jeff Burton. He will be, Ty Dillon into the wall. You can hear him working the throttle.
So Jeff Burton running right up against the wall. What a difficult vantage point these drivers have as the sun glistening off of this racing surface.
See, Newman looks down to the inside a little bit to see if there's any grip down there. Jeff Burton doing a great job staying right up in the groove, right up next to the wall.
Here comes the slide job. Newman goes to the bottom of the track, doesn't have the advantage. We'll check up a bit. Jeff Burton holds on to the top position.
Newman just trying the waters, testing them down low to see if he has anything for Burton. Knew that he didn't there, got right back in line. He doesn't want to lose that second spot.
He has the transfer position.
I think he feels pretty good about transferring. He just doesn't want to lose any positions, Rick. We talked about how important each spot is in this qualifying race. You pick up one spot, you gain 5 in the starting order. But look at Newman.
Once again, trying the slide job. He gets in front of Burton this time. What will Burton do? Gets back by as Newman got into the wall, loses that top spot once again.
We've seen 3 extreme slide jobs. One that worked, one where a guy let off the wall, and another where a guy hit the wall.
I think right now Newman knows that he's in danger there. If that didn't turn out like it did just then, he may be out of the transfer spot.
Less than 2 laps to go. Ty Dillon working the bottom of the racetrack. Johnny Sauter up against the wall as they go by. Jeff Burton holding on to the #1 spot as they come out of turn number 4. This time by. White flag in the air one more time around.
Looks like Newman's going to make one more run at Burton.
Looking at the inside, trying to get that position as they go through 1 and 2. Will he try the slide job on the final turn? As they go down the backstretch, Newman making the move. Contact, though, between Ty Dillon and the 98 of Sauter. Those two fighting for the spots. Coming out of turn number 4. Jeff Burton sideways as he wins qualifying race number 5. Ty Dillon got by the 98 of Sauter.
I don't think Johnny's going to be real happy about that either, because they made some pretty significant contact there. He's going to pull up beside Ty, and I'm sure he's going to let him know he did not appreciate that.
In a heat race.
In a heat race, but we're going to see a lot more of that later on.
You better get used to it, hadn't you, Phil?
Better, absolutely.
That's how much the 98 got into the wall. You see the right side of that truck.
He got forced into the wall. You will watch this in the replay. Ty Dillon goes to the bottom, trying to squeeze up in front of Sauter, doesn't have room, and they hit.
You know, that wasn't a situation where Ty was trying to drive in and drive in the side of Johnny. That's just where he landed when he got there, when he stopped sliding.
Tried the slide job. It didn't work. Right along with him. This will be a good vantage point. Oh, my goodness.
See, that's got Johnny up against the outside wall.
Don't let him hook you. Get to the bottom here. He's going to hook you. Get to the bottom. Slow, 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 slow. Let it roll. Get all the way down. Clear up. Go on. He's trying to cross over. Sideways are good.
You hear his spotter talking in the radio the whole time.
I think I heard his spotter say clear right there. Clint, I think his spotter cleared him and he wasn't clear.
Ty Dillon just got out of the race truck. Talk about the race with Johnny Sauter and the contact and what you guys just discussed.
I mean, it's dirt racing and it's a slick track, and everybody's piled in the top, and our truck was about half a second faster, I felt like. So, and it's just dirt racing, and everybody's doing a slide job, and I thought I had him. I left a little bit of room there, but these trucks, I mean, you ain't going to stop. But that's the difference in 10 spots on the start of the race. So I told him, I knew what happened. I was trying to slide job him, and I thought I had him cleared, but I didn't, and got into him a little bit, but it didn't trash either of our trucks too bad. So it's dirt racing, and I'm glad we got to move up a couple spots from our qualifying efforts, and that's all good.
It's Ty Dillon. He'll start 15th, Ray.
And that puts Johnny Sauter in 20th when we start this race tonight. And Johnny, a little bit of damage here to the right side of your Carolina Nut Toyota. How much work do the guys have to do?
I don't. You should probably ask them, not me. I mean, it's just whatever. I mean, it's I don't know. It's whatever, dude. Carolina Nut, Curb Records Toyota, all the guys working harder than they should have to right now, and I guess that's how you do it. So we'll keep that in the memory bank, and might not be here, but maybe down the road.
Johnny Sauter not too pleased about making contact in an 8-lap heat race.
That's definitely a very true statement. Take a look at the unofficial results of qualifying race number 5. The 25 positions have been set. Jeff Burton was able to grab the number 5 starting position by winning qualifying race number 5.
See, Ryan Newman was able to transfer in. He will start, as he said, in the 10th spot. Ty Dillon moves up a couple spots to gain several spots in the lineup for tonight's race.
I can't wait, y'all. Every pole sitter won those heats, but that won't be the case tonight. He who is first will be last, and vice versa. And I know it's going to be crazy.
And the 5 qualifying heat races are in the books. That means 25 positions have already been filled for the 30-spot A main feature, the Mudsummer Classic, about to get underway. But first, we've got to finish filling out the final 5 spots, and that will be our last chance qualifier. We've got 10 trucks, only 5 advance.
I cannot tell you the importance of making it in this field. All these 35 drivers came here. 20 knew that they were going to make the race. 15 said, we have to be in this first dirt track race in 43 years. And what an amazing sight when we saw the shot from above. So many people here, unbelievable. J.R. Hefner is in the driver's seat right now. He's going to pick the outside for the start of this thing.
But Jeff Babcock's got a lot of experience at this track. He knows how to get around here. For the guys starting 6th through 10th, back Weller, Benning, Greenfield, Joe Cobb, and Brian Silas, this is their worst nightmare. They got to pass trucks on this track. Half-mile long, 24-degree banking in the corners, 8-degree on the straightaways. But what we've seen so far, very tough to pass. That's our Camping World track description.
Bob Dillner.
James Busher gets ready to watch this race, but you're getting ready for the feature as well. How nervous will you be in this race?
You know, I'm glad we're not in it. They're getting ready to start it, but fortunately for Turner Scott Motorsports, everybody's in the race already. So we got a decent starting spot with our Ream Chevy, and was running pretty good in that heat race. And I tried the bottom to go try for the win, but not enough grip down there to make it work. And I could have done a slide job, but I didn't think it was worth risking tearing my truck up in the heat race. And we'll go get him in the main.
He'll be nervous when it comes time for that main.
Thanks, Bob. And again, we mentioned this is it. The last chance for these 10 drivers. Only 5 spots remain. And again, 15 laps, all green flag laps counting. The caution flags don't count, or the caution laps don't count. Clint, I'm telling you, this is a big, big race right now for these 10 drivers.
It sure is. Let me tell you a little bit of new development. I'm going to throw a little bit of terminology at you, dirt track terminology. The track is locked down. It is rubbering up. That late model race out there that we just had, a little bit of exhibition race out there, picked up 2 seconds over the course of that. So I think you're going to see business pick up on this racetrack big time.
Okay, we got locked down to add to the list.
We got dry slick,
slide job,
Slide job. We got a lot of new things.
Heavy. We're not heavy.
Nope.
We're locked down.
We're locked down.
Gotcha.
Randy Kaiser's taking the pace truck off of the racing surface. We're about to go with 15 laps. The last chance qualifier from Eldora. Green flag back in the air. Hefner, a little bit of issues on the start. That'll allow the 24, Brendan Newberry, to look to the outside. 3 and 4 wide as they go through 1 and 2.
How about Brendan Newberry? Look at all these trucks. Oh, Clay Greenfield into the wall.
They stay straight. We continue on. Hefner, after starting on the pole, has dropped all the way back.
He has an issue. He's very, very slow. You see him top of your screen. He's trying to make his way to pit road. J.R. Hefner will be out.
J.R. Hefner pulls into the infield. We stay green. Brendan Newberry out front.
Started fourth, drove to first on the first lap. We've heard from him just before the race. He was confident about his chances, and looks like he knew what he was talking about.
3 and 4 wide on the start of this, the last chance qualifier. The top 5 advance. Right now, Norm Benning holding on to the 5th spot, that transfer position in the 57.
Yeah, and you know, Norm has been competitive all the last 2 days here. He's been hard to pass. He's raced against some great trucks. Heck, I remember him holding off James Busher in practice. Now all he has to do is keep that spot, and he's going to advance to the feature at Eldora. I know this would be a big night for Norm.
Huge night for that 57. But once again, the 68 right behind him. So Clay Greenfield also would want to be a part of this historic event and make the first ever Mudsummer Classic.
Watch that 07 Jimmy Weller. He was able to get by Joe Cobb in the 10. Joe's going to run up, hit him in the door. Jimmy Weller from Ohio, a regular in the K&N East Series.
You talked about Clay Greenfield, Rick. I talked to him down in the garage area. He said he went to test at a track in Tennessee called Duck River, and he felt like he had this thing figured out. He got to Eldora and said, Duck River is nothing like Eldora.
But we were told that, once again, locked down is this racing surface right now, starting to take rubber, so it will race completely different from what we saw earlier in the qualifying heat races. And now in this last chance qualifier, it's Brendan Newberry still leading the field around the transfer position in the 57 of Norm Benning. Right now, it's in his hands.
And if I'm Jason Bowles, I know I want to pass Justin Jennings, but man, I've got a ride right there. If I take any chance at all, I won't win the race. This is all about being conservative once you're in and not making a mistake that will put you out.
Jason only has a 1-spot cushion right now. He's running fourth. He could let the 57 of Norm by, but that's it. He can't let Clay Greenfield by in the 68 truck.
Yeah, and you always want a 1-spot cushion. You don't want to be the guy sitting on the bubble where Norm is right now, because Clay Greenfield is going to heat him up before this thing's over.
Closing in on the halfway point of this last chance qualifier. Some of these guys back here, like Clay Greenfield, he's going to have to try a different line. He can't just follow Norm around the track.
He may wait till the very end and try to do a slide job on the last lap. You see him catching up to Norm right now. He's within striking distance.
These 4 trucks nose to tail, the 63 of Jennings, and it's Bowles, Benning, and Greenfield. Out in front of the field still is Brendan Newberry, and that 84 of Jeff Babcock. Those two are running 1 and 2.
And Babcock's been on the track tonight racing a late model. He races here a lot, so he knows he's in a great spot right now to advance to the feature, and that's all he wants to do, keep that thing straight and get in. This is where things have got to pick up. Look at Greenfield looking around on the inside of Norm Benning, trying to figure out how to gain some ground so he can make that slide job that you talked about, Bill.
And he may wait to the last lap to do it. He doesn't want to go down there and it not work, and then that allows somebody else to get by him, Jimmy Weller to get by him. You see him right on the back bumper of the 57 truck.
Clay Greenfield trying to put a little pressure on Norm Benning. Under 5 laps of racing to go. This last chance qualifier, advancing 5 spots. The top 5 positions will make it into the Mudsummer Classic.
That 07's catching up to Jimmy Weller's moved to within a couple truck lengths of Clay Greenfield.
The Ohio native Jimmy Weller, he wants to be a big part of this big feature as well, so he's going to turn the action up. And here he comes to the bottom one, Greenfield.
We'll see if he slides up the track. He's able to get a little bit of grip down low. Around he goes. The 07 of Jimmy Weller around. Will it bring out the caution? It does.
Wow, this is a tough break for Norm Benning. He's going to start 5th in that transfer spot, but on the inside, it's going to allow Clay Greenfield to drive up on the outside of him. Norm's going to have his hands full for these last 4 laps.
It's going to be a huge advantage for Clay Greenfield. Really, everybody on the outside. We know that Brendan Newberry will have choice. He will take the outside. Everybody has the whole night.
and Jason Bowles will be right behind him. So Bowles will be in good shape. The first guy that is really going to be bitten by this caution is the 57 truck of Norm Benning. You see there, Weller going around.
He had to make something happen. He was running in the 7th spot. He knew that one spot wasn't going to be enough for him.
And there he goes, trying to make it happen. We watched a lot of drivers try to make something happen doing this, and the result was a lot the same.
I think that shows me that there's not that much grip in the middle. Maybe the very, very bottom that we saw Kyle Larson use may be the place to be.
We're going to re-rack the field. That means that Newberry and Babcock will start side by side on this restart. Once again, the caution flag laps not counting. This one is a 15-lap feature.
That camera makes me really happy seeing that super slow motion.
And no flat spotting here. Remember, we don't flat spot these dirt tires. There's some interested observers right there.
And a little bit of fun out of Brendan Gaughan. And then you've got Pop, Richard Childress standing there with his grandson, Ty Dillon. And, of course, trying to be a part of this group, Hermie Sadler. Hermie?
Well, these guys are interested onlookers. First, take your locked in P8. What are you seeing? And is your truck going to be what you need tonight to get it done?
The South Point Chevy was great in practice. You know, the moisture's coming back out of the track, and having a great time watching this last chance qualifier. And how about old Norm Benning running in the transfer spot, baby? We're loving watching it.
And RC, talk about NASCAR being back on dirt after all these years, what it means to the sport, and what you're looking forward to seeing tonight.
Well, I think it's been a good race. I think you got to be around that last 40 and go for it then. It's going to be a good race. I really think it is. The track's beginning to widen out just a little. The top's still working good, but we'll see how it goes as the night goes on.
And Ty, you've already been through your heat race locked in. You had a fast truck in the heat. How difficult is it going to be to pass based on what you're seeing to get your truck to the front?
It's going to be very hard. And, you know, I tried passing there in the heat race, and it's just the track's not really ready. You know, you got to pull a really hard slide job and risk tearing your truck up. So you're going to have to wait till 10 to go, keep your right rear on the truck. And our Bass Pro Shop Chevy's fast, but we're just going to have to be patient and make it to the end of this thing.
That's Ty Dillon. Rick?
Thanks, Herbie.
Oh, I feel so bad for Norm right now. Everybody's got their eye on Norm. They want to see if he can race his way into this feature, but he's in a bind right now, Phil.
Yeah, Clay Greenfield definitely has the advantage on the top side in that 68 truck.
And I would say desperation has probably set in for Norm. He knew he had that spot, felt like he had it, and now he's in a tough spot. Will he dive to the bottom going into turn one and try to grab that spot ahead of him?
Green flag back in the air. Look at the inside, the 63 of Justin Jennings.
There goes Norm.
He got up in there, didn't he?
He made it.
Was able to slide up in front. He's holding on to that fifth spot just in front of Clay Greenfield.
I'm pretty sure Norm doesn't know how to do a slide job, but he just did one and he made it work, and he's running in the transfer spot right now.
And look at the 4 trucks behind him, all fighting to get into this feature.
Wow, what a restart.
The laps have wind down. Now, just 2 to go as they come to the stripe for the last, or the second to last time. Out in front, it's Brennan Newberry. Then it's Babcock, Bowles, Jennings, and Benning. They are your top 5 trying to transfer. Here comes Clay Greenfield. He puts the bumper to the 57 again. 2 laps of racing to go.
Greenfield might not have liked the way that Benning performed that slide job, and he might think that he's owed him a shot. It'll be interesting to see what Clay does on this last lap.
We'll see if he can get to it. Here he comes. He's going down hard. They make contact. Norton sideways. Clay Greenfield sideways. The white flag flies one more time around.
Norton's holding on to her.
Jimmy Weller's right there, the 07. That is the battle. 57 right now has it for 5th.
Here comes Norm Benning trying to make it into the most historic truck race he's ever been a part of. In front of this pack, the 54, but the slide job once again by Greenfield. Can they hold on? They're door to door, side by side.
Come on,
Benning
Norm.
hangs on. That's the final transfer spot.
Norm was not going to be denied.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And that's what you're going to see when they have the final 40 laps here at Eldora.
You can hear the crowd. They're louder than they've been all night.
The crowd, as that pack was coming out of turn number 4, jumped to their feet. Their arms were in the air.
Yes! Yes, that's how we felt in the booth, too. You love seeing somebody fight for something he believes, and that's exactly what Norm did. Fought his way into the feature.
And all smiles and thumbs up.
Look at his tailpipes dragging the ground. His fenders tore off, his bumper hanging off, but he's in, baby.
Norm Benning grabs that 5th spot and will race tonight in the Mudsummer Classic from Eldora Speedway. Welcome back as the sun begins to set on Rossburg, Ohio and Eldora Speedway. But the action is beginning to pick up, and it just took place in our last chance qualifier. The top 5 positions would advance into the Mudsummer Classic. Take a look at the battle for that final 5th spot. Norm Benning in the 57 and Clay Greenfield in the 68.
Norm Benning is our American Ethanol top performer. Norm was not going to be denied. And folks, this is to get in the race. What do you think it's going to be like to win this thing and get that trophy?
Look at all the crew members and drivers that came by to congratulate Norm. They saw his heart. Ryan Salas saw something more than that. He didn't want to congratulate Norm. He wanted to discuss stuff with him.
Take a look at those that advanced to the Mudsummer Classic feature. Brennan Newberry, Babcock, Bowles, Jennings, and Benning. And of course, 5 have to go home. So the guy who is elated, Norm Benning, he made it. He's standing by with Ray.
Well, the crowd was on their feet. The spotter stand was on their feet. And Norm, what an unbelievable race. You'll make your 103rd start in the Camping World Trucks. How did you get it done?
I just never lifted when he drove into me 3 times going into the corner. And he just had me squeezed on the wall, and I just kept the floor and just rode the wall all the way around. But I love Tony Stewart's track. I've been looking forward to this race since the day they announced it. And something happened in the heat race there. We just lost our forward bite. And now we got a little bit of the back. We made the race.
He's got some work to do, but there'll be no shortage of crew members to help him out. Norm Benning, the ultimate underdog, is in the race tonight at Eldora. Bob?
Clay Greenfield, he's out, not in the race. Norm Benning said you ran into him a couple times in a dynamic battle. What was your take on the incident?
That's just one of those things you get into when you have to run a last chance race. I feel like Norm and the 07 took the race away from me. Right at the initial start, looked like we were going to come out second, and the 07 just slid up when there wasn't room. In a similar situation, Norm just slide jobbed me, slid up into me, and I did the best I could to get back in position. You know, I'm fighting for all my guys. I own the team myself. We're a small budget team. I don't have any full-time employees, and I'm really proud of the effort that my guys put into it. We actually qualified 13th, and it's just a series of unfortunate events. The reason we're not going to make the race. You know, we got stuck in a bad heat race, and I'm still a little confused on the 5 truck. Jacked his truck up on jack stands, changed tires, and he was still able to maintain his starting position. It's supposed to be an impound race, so a little confused about that. But just don't mean to sound like I'm whining. I'm just down right now. I'm frustrated. You know, today is Mike Musto, president of U.S. Pavement's birthday, and I really wanted to get him a good birthday present, and you know, hopefully we'll get them some business. They can start paving parking lots.
He's disappointed because he's missing probably the biggest race of the year.
Ken Schrader, though, will start in the #1 position for the biggest race in the Truck Series history up to this point. Jared Landers makes up that other spot in the front row.
We got a lot of strong trucks towards the back, Mikey.
I was going to say Kyle Larson, Ty Dillon, Ryan Newman. Those guys on that page will all be tough to beat. Austin Dillon's a great dirt racer, and there's Scott Blumenquist.
Back in row 11 as well. How about the final 5 that get in? Newberry, Babcock, Bowles, and of course, an elated Benning. So the field is now set. It's time to get the fireworks started. And for that, we'll go back to Chris Devoda and the setup.